You know what's funny? When 360 cameras first came out, I kind of hated them. Not because they were bad, because they made me feel like filmmaking did not matter anymore.
I actually don't know what to do with myself because I've never used a camera like this. I feel such a noob.
Dude, like, I'm so confused still.
No, see, that's the thing. You don't have to tilt up.
See,
You just keep it in one place.
And as filmmakers, we spent years learning composition, framing, lens choices, movement. We obsess over what's inside a frame.
You don't have to like grab it and like tilt up, down. No. You literally just hold it and you like
And that's it?
reframe it post. Yeah, exactly.
It's so, like, my brain doesn't work that way.
The best.
But with a 360 camera, there is no frame. It captures everything. And if everything is captured, then what exactly are we being intentional about anymore?
And go, pass me. I have 3 fingers, 4 fingers. What?
So when DJI sent over the Osmo 360, I almost said no. Obviously, I didn't.
How this is gonna go, but I wanna just transition shots.
Because it wasn't just skeptic tries thing, loves thing. It was messier than that. This video is powered by DJI. The first few days with this camera were genuinely uncomfortable.
See, the thing is, it's just like muscle memory. We bring out a camera, right?
Yeah.
And then you go like, oh, I need to frame it here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just have to turn off my brain.
Because with a normal camera, even with a phone, there's a moment of intention. You decide what's in the frame. You decide what's left out. The decision in filmmaking.
I can go over here. Victor has to do nothing. I can go over here. I can go over here. Victor Laforteza is you're basically a human tripod right now, dude. I'm doing all the work.
The thing that finally shifted it for me wasn't a revelation. It was just one shot. I was walking through the city, not really filming anything intentionally, just kind of had it on a stick, kind of just testing movement. And when I pulled the footage into the editor and reframed it, there was this moment, this completely accidental, perfectly timed moment that I would have never captured with a traditional camera. And that's when I started understanding what this camera actually is. It's not a filmmaking tool in a traditional sense. It's a moment capturing tool that lets you do the filmmaking later. And once I stopped fighting that idea, things got interesting. So this is where the Osmo 360 quietly does something important. It makes itself easy to bring with you at any time of the day. I know it sounds basic, but the cameras you actually use are the ones that don't feel like a commitment. If you're vlogging with a 360 camera, it's almost unfair how easy it is. You stop thinking about framing entirely and you just focus on what's happening in front of you.
See, we can just like chit chat, talk, and like we could just like have our whole conversation. And the best part is, without having to reframe anything, we can even show this cute doggy. Can I pet him? Like, see, look, there's like a little, what's his name? Oh my God, Butters!
But where I personally got excited was using it alongside with my traditional setup, not instead of it, alongside it. And we're talking about transition shots, impossible handheld angles, fake drone-like movements, dynamic perspectives that would have needed way more gear to pull off. This camera started filling the gaps I didn't even know I had in my workflow. A few practical things worth mentioning is the built-in storage, meant one less thing to manage. I don't have to buy an extra micro SD for this, and you just take it out of the box and it's ready to shoot. Battery held up way better than I expected. One fully charged battery is about one full day of filmmaking. It's durable enough that I stopped babying it after day 2. And this one actually matters more than it sounds, because the moment you stop being precious about a camera, you start using it more freely, and that's when you actually get interesting footage. I went to the image quality testing generally expecting to find a deal breaker, and I didn't. The Osmo 360 shoots native 8K, and before you get too excited, I wanted to be clear what that actually means. It's two 4K cameras recording, so you're not getting one traditional 8K cinematic frame, you're getting an extremely detailed image captured all around you. What actually surprised me was the dynamic range. I don't really have a super technical way to do my testing. I just test its limits.
So we're now at 0 on the multimeter. This should be our baseline basically. But the sun is hitting my face, but I want to see what it looks like if I go into the shade right here, if it's gonna capture some more of my face. Okay, and we go here. Okay, so I'm curious to see, we're at minus 0.7 now, and see how the exposure is in terms of shadows and highlights. From what I can see on the Osmo Pocket 4, that the highlights is actually like exposed properly, and then, but we're losing the shadow detail if I'm not mistaken. But I need to take a look at this in post and see kind of like what it actually looks like on the computer. On the 360 though, it's looking like it's quite good. Even the shadow details are nice. Okay, we're just gonna do one last test. And this is a negative 1.7 exposure on the Osmo 360 and the OP4 and see how it goes. I feel like with the Osmo 360, there's a little bit more shadows in the details because it's D-Log M compared to D-Log, which I think needs a little bit more exposure. So the D-Log M on the OP4 is going to need at least +1 exposure so that we get lifted shadows and that we capture details in the shadows. But with the D-Log M on the 360, that means it's just like, it's Rec 709 with a custom curve so that we can play a little bit of it in post. So it's kind of like in between normal picture profile and then D-Log M and then D-Log as your high dynamic range color profile. And that's that. Hopefully shed a light on these two cameras on how they compare with each other.
Editing is where most 360 cameras completely lose me, because if the workflow is frustrating, I'm out. I don't care how good the footage is, I'm just not gonna rebuild my entire editing process around one camera. So I tried the DJI Studio for the first time and it actually surprised me. I didn't read any tutorials or manuals, I just simply dragged the footage there and played with it. The reframing process is more intuitive than I expected. Keyframe your movements, adjust your perspective, simulate camera motion after the fact. And once I got into it, it started feeling less like editing and more like a virtual cinematography. Like I was directing the shot twice, once when I captured it and once when I shaped it in DJI Studio. And that feeling, it was a new feeling and I kind of liked it. I still don't think 360 cameras will replace intentional filmmaking. And to be clear, I don't think it should. But I think I was wrong about something. I thought the absence of a frame meant the absence of intention. Well, it doesn't. You're still making decisions. You're still crafting something. You're just doing it at a different point in the process. And honestly, for certain moments, that works better. Before I forget, I'm actually giving away 10 D-Log M LUT packs. All you have to do is comment down below what you would use this camera for. I'll pick the winners within 2 weeks of posting this video, and I'll only email you at victor@vgstudios.co. So yeah, that is my honest experience with the DJI Osmo 360. Took me a minute to get it, probably longer than it should have, but I'm glad I didn't give up on it in those first few days when it felt completely wrong. Because this camera right here, it ended up being one of the more fun cameras I've shot with in a while. If you've been curious about it, hopefully this video helped. And if you have any questions about the Osmo 360, let me know in the comments down below. And if you like my colors and want your edits to feel like a movie, everything is on my website. But until then, I will see you in the next video. Peace.